the Pentagon faces mounting scrutiny over deadly boat strikes.
This video was profoundly shaken, and I think it's important for Americans to see it.
We're reviewing it right now.
I'm Willie James Inman at the White House. New reporting tonight about the controversy over the second deadly strike, as President Trump says he'd have no problem releasing the video.
Also tonight, new Russian attacks on Ukraine just hours after U.S. peace talks wrap up. The latest on President Zelensky's next move. In Bethlehem, light after 2 years of darkness.
I'm Yves Tayeb in Bethlehem's Manger Square, where Christmas celebrations have returned after 2 years of war in Gaza.
It's a big week for the U.S. economy.
I'm Lisa Rosner in New York. The Federal Reserve is feeling political pressure to lower interest rates, while Main Street is feeling the pinch from rising prices.
All that, plus remembering a day of infamy. And after 4 years of war, the victory that followed.
We took back 16 islands all the way to Tokyo. That's the whole South Pacific.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Sunday. Tonight, President Trump is taking on a starring role at the marquee event in the nation's capital. He'll be at the Kennedy Center Honors hosting a tribute to actors Sylvester Stallone and Michael Crawford, singers Gloria Gaynor and George Strait, along with the rock band Kiss. It is happening with scrutiny of the Trump administration strikes on suspected drug boats intensifying. More than 80 people have now been killed. CBS's Willie James Inman leads us off tonight from the White House with more on that. Willie James.
Jerika, good evening to you. Lawmakers are demanding answers about the controversial double strike of an alleged drug boat that killed 2 survivors.
This weekend, new demands for a full accounting of the U.S. military attack last September on an alleged drug boat in the Caribbean. Some lawmakers want classified video of the second strike that killed survivors released. Democrat Jim Himes saw it during a closed-door briefing. Today, he told CBS News the public needs to see it too.
I think it's really important that people see what it looks like when the full force of the United States military is turned on 2 guys who are clinging to a piece of wood and about to go under.
Republican Senator Tom Cotton says he's not against releasing the video, but defended the strikes.
It looked at one point like they were trying to flip the boat back over, presumably to rescue its cargo and continue their mission.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has found himself in the hot seat as details of the attack emerged. This weekend, he defended the Trump administration's efforts to go after so-called narco-terrorists and said the second strike was justified.
There was a link-up point of another potential boat. Drugs were still there. They were actively interacting with them. Had to take that read. I said, Roger, sounds good.
Hegseth would not say whether the video of the second strike would be released, but said a review is underway. But critics are seizing on President Trump's own comments on the controversy.
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem.
Under the law, if someone has been struck and continues to engage in hostilities, points a gun at you, has a gun, they may be a legitimate target. But if they are outside of combat, they are not. And attacking them is a violation of the laws of war.
Tonight, for the first time as president, Mr. Trump attends the Kennedy Center Honors. He's also hosting them, another first for a president. Jerika.
Willie James Inman at the White House, thank you. Tonight, Russia is welcoming President Trump's new U.S. national security strategy, calling it largely consistent with Moscow's, quote, vision. Russia is no longer labeled as a threat to the United States. CBS's Lee Canary at our London bureau reports this latest move has set off alarm bells among allies, including Ukraine.
For 3 days, American and Ukrainian officials in Florida talked about conditions for peace, but the deal is not done. And at the same time, Russia sent a message straight to Ukraine, and it was far from peaceful. Russia launched over 600 drones this weekend and dozens of missiles, killing at least 4 people. One of the targets, a railway hub that Ukraine's leaders said had no military value. A warehouse went up in flames after an airstrike. Ruslan Malashok lives next door. This is not for peace, he said. This is for the destruction of Ukrainians. President Zelensky spent Saturday paying tribute to the armed forces, looking into the eyes of family members of soldiers who died defending their country, while the land they fought for is on the negotiating table. Territorial concessions, including large areas currently occupied by Russia, are part of the U.S. proposed peace plan. Tomorrow, President Zelensky will be here in London, meeting with leaders from the UK, France, and Germany, discussing the plan and, most importantly for this region, Jerika, security guarantees that protect Ukraine from Russian attacks in the future.
Lee Kaniri in London, thank you. Today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire plan is nearly complete. At a news conference with Germany's Chancellor, Netanyahu also said the next phase must involve the disarmament of Hamas. The ceasefire in Gaza has meant a return to some sense of normalcy in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. CBS's MTS Tayeb is in the city of Bethlehem.
Good evening. Well, with the precarious ceasefire in Gaza, Christian leaders here in Bethlehem have told us that they hope the lighting of the Christmas tree will be a beacon of peace for the world.
The mood was electric as thousands gathered in Manger Square for the traditional tree lighting. A joyous, if starkly different scene from the past 2 years, when Christmas in Bethlehem was effectively canceled by local Christian leaders while the war in Gaza still raged on. But with the U.S.-brokered ceasefire in place, there was a deep desire to return Christmas cheer back to the traditional birthplace of Jesus Christ, something Palestinian Christians Arij and Tahir Harb, along with their 3 children, wanted to witness for themselves.
We're back in Bethlehem, the celebrations. Are you feeling hopeful this year?
Sure, of course. We are feeling hopeful. We hope that every year celebrate the Christmas as we used to. Kids are so happy. For 2 years they didn't see anything like this. Because we are tired of war, we are tired of sadness.
At the entry of the Church of the Nativity, the spot where Christians believe Jesus was born, some pilgrims have also started to return after staying away throughout the war. It's here we met Pastor Munther Isaac, an outspoken critic of the violence.
How are you feeling this Christmas?
We're conflicted. We thought the war was over, but we still hear reports of killing. At the same time, there is a clear sense of desire to get back to normality, maybe with a sense of relief. And I think there is an insistence on people that we want to celebrate, we want to reclaim our lives.
And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said he plans to meet with President Trump soon to discuss the second phase of the ceasefire deal, Jerika, which must involve the complete disarmament of Hamas.
MTS Tayeb for us tonight. Thank you. Well, turning now to the economy. It's a big week here for the U.S. economy. The Federal Reserve meets to discuss a potential interest rate cut that is expected to be contentious, with policymakers divided on the path ahead. CBS's Lisa Rosner in New York reports it's happening with many Americans in an affordability crunch. Lisa.
Well, Jerika, economists say holiday spending is growing over last year, but at a slower pace. Americans face higher prices without seeing more in their paychecks. That's leading to tough decisions at the register.
With Americans deep into the holiday shopping season, Amanda Maxwell says she's cutting back.
Groceries are more expensive. You kind of have to cut back on things that you normally would do, like eating out.
A new Politico poll finds 46% of Americans say the cost of living in the U.S. is the worst they can ever remember. So this season, they are relying on credit cards and buy now, pay later programs.
We are seeing debt levels grow. So even though people are spending, there is some indication that they're using debt to do that.
Last year, candidate Trump promised to lower prices.
I will make America affordable again because it's not affordable anymore.
But this week in a cabinet meeting,
the word affordability is a con job by the Democrats.
Since then, he's faced pushback from members of his own party.
People know costs are up. As Republicans, as Democrats, as elected officials, we would be wise to realize that really matters to people.
Face the Nation's Margaret Brennan asked Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about the persistent finger-pointing.
I think the Biden administration created a terror.
No, but now we're nearly 12 months in. You said the president would own the economy at this point.
I said that the Biden administration created the worst inflation in 50 years, and maybe for working Americans, the worst inflation of all time. And we have pulled that number down.
President Trump has a campaign event in Pennsylvania Tuesday and will specifically address affordability. CBS News has learned the focus will be on gas prices, which recently fell below $3 for the first time in over 4 years. Jerika.
All right, Lisa Rosner in New York. Thank you. To the weather now. A washout in the Northwest and a new wave of cold for millions of others. Today, fans at the Packers-Bears game in Green Bay were feeling it. The mercury at 10 degrees. CBS News meteorologist Andrew Kozak has new details on what is to come.
Yeah, good evening, Jerika. If those temperatures aren't cold enough, the wind chills at the game today between -5 and 0. More cold air for the north coming. But tonight, I want to focus on this developing area of low pressure across the deep south. It's going to grab some Gulf moisture and head to the mid-Atlantic, where it's going to dump a messy mixture of rain and snow for areas like Virginia, West Virginia, and North Carolina heading into Monday. Both the morning commute and the afternoon commute across the mid-Atlantic, especially along the I-95 corridor, will be messy with several inches of slushy snow. To the north, we have a drop in temperatures for the beginning of the week and an even colder, more dramatic push by the end of the week. Wind chills could be 10 to 20 below 0 for the northern tier. Now to the Pacific Northwest, where we are in day 2 of what could be 10 days of continued rain and mountain snow. This will go all the way through the end of the week, where the Cascades and the Olympics could see 6 inches to a foot of rain. The mountains could see over a foot of snow. Unfortunately, flooding issues are going to be a big problem into the week ahead up here. Jerika?
Not so good. Andrew Kozak, thank you. Tonight, the college football playoffs are all set. The NCAA releasing the 12-team bracket, the top 4 ranked teams, Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech, which means they skip to the second round automatically. The selection committee is getting some blowback from fans of schools that were left out. That includes ACC champion Duke. They were snubbed for league rival University of Miami, as well as Notre Dame, which ended the season with a 10-game winning streak. Straight ahead, the surprise visitor who joined a Tennessee Christmas parade. But first, this story.
I'm Katie Weiss in Canyon City, Colorado, where federal budget cuts are closing down a critical program for wild Mustangs. I'll tell you what the loss means for the horses and the prison inmates who prepared them for adoption. Coming up on the CBS Weekend News.
Tonight, it is the end of an era for a decades-old program to rehabilitate incarcerated men in Colorado. As CBS's Katie Weiss reports from Canyon City, they found hope in wild horses.
And this is where, like, horses that were getting trained.
Inside this Colorado prison, Matthew Kervink is closing a chapter, cleaning out corrals that once housed thousands of wild horses.
I can't say enough on how much personal growth this has done for me. After you.
Thank you. Kervink and Justin Leonard are serving time for aggravated robbery.
These are our trimming tools here, hoof picks and hoof knives and nips.
Every day for the last year and a half, their work has been caring for Mustangs, rounded up by the Bureau of Land Management. Leonard says the horses cared for him, too.
It's taught me is most of our relationships in life are dependent on you being able to understand their perspective and where they're coming from, and same thing with horses.
But in September, the BLM announced it would end its 30-year partnership with the prison, citing budget cuts. In a statement, the Colorado Department of Corrections says it regrets the closure and is working to create new opportunities for rehabilitation.
When you think of this program shutting down, what goes through your mind?
All the future incarcerated individuals that are losing the opportunity to maybe get the personal growth.
This fall, more than 2,000 wild horses were shipped from these fields to facilities in Wyoming and Utah at the taxpayers' expense.
A CBS News analysis of federal spending records shows each of those 2 private facilities stand to make about $800 more per horse than the Colorado facility made this past year. Nationwide, there are 4 other prison programs that house wild horses. Their contracts expire next year. The BLM tells CBS News it's issued them contract extensions, but is evaluating next steps to best manage wild herds in the West. For now, every wild horse rounded up in Colorado will be transported out of state. At a recent adoption event, we found that's not sitting well with some locals.
We want them to stay in Colorado. It's a shame that we're losing that program.
But at least one horse will stay in Colorado.
I adopted a horse. His name's Hollywood. As the program was closing down, I didn't want to see him go to an unknown.
A reminder of a partnership that gave horses and humans a second chance. Katie Weiss, CBS News, Canyon City, Colorado.
Well, still ahead on the CBS Weekend News, feeling the heat in Hawaii. This camera's last close-up. That's next. Now to more top stories in tonight's Weekend News Roundup. This weekend, a black bear joined the holiday fun in Tennessee. Take a look. The bear showed up for the Christmas parade in downtown Gatlinburg Friday night. He walked the parade route as several people clearly scattered, but most were not scared away. Well, a spectacular eruption at Hawaii's very active Kilauea volcano. You are looking at a rare triple fountain, that bright orange lava shooting in 3 directions. Those powerful bursts of lava reaching heights of more than 1,000 feet. And watch this as the eruption took out a live camera that, well, used to monitor the volcano. Tonight, the Powerball jackpot keeps growing after no winner this weekend. It is now $875 million, the second biggest prize this year. Your next chance to win is Monday night. Next on the CBS Weekend News, an eyewitness to the end of World War II. But first, a look back at this day in history.
The Apollo space program has had many moments of drama in its history.
Finally, it has been 84 years since Japan's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, killing more than 2,400 troops. In Honolulu, no survivors attended today's remembrance ceremony. There are only 12 still alive, all of them over 100 years old. The attack launched the United States into World War II. In tonight's Weekend Journal, CBS's John Lordson met a veteran who was present at the Allied victory 4 years later.
I tell you, I joined the Navy when I was a senior in high school.
And as soon as he graduated in 1942, Del Tilke began a journey that put him in the middle of World War II. He was trained in aviation ordnance and found himself on an aircraft carrier in the South Pacific.
Loading airplanes with bombs, rockets, and machine gun bullets.
For more than 4 years, he was at war and at sea, rarely leaving the ship.
We took back 16 islands all the way to Tokyo. That's the whole South Pacific.
When Japan was ready to surrender, Del received more good news. Out of the 1,500 men on his ship,
let us pray that peace be now restored to the world.
He was the only one selected to be aboard the USS Missouri when the peace treaty was signed.
80 years ago. And here they were down here signing the peace treaty with Japan. And here's me right up here on top.
Del's white cap can be seen in the upper deck. Recently, he received a letter informing him that a war memorial is being built in New Orleans that recognizes the treaty signing. The letter informed Del that it's possible he's the only person still alive from that picture taken on the USS Missouri.
I'm the last one that's living that they could find. Isn't that something?
He credits his faith as the reason why he's still able to talk about that historic day 8 decades later.
I have been a strong Christian all my life, and I believe that God was guiding me for 4 years on that carrier.
The war is over. Peace
Peace is here.
John Lordson, CBS News, Dawson, Minnesota.
Mr. Dell never forgot, and neither should we. Well, that is the CBS Weekend News for this Sunday. Tonight on 60 Minutes, Leslie Stahl sits down with Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene in her first interview since announcing her resignation from Congress. For now, I'm Jerika Duncan in New York. We thank you for watching. Have a good night.